So now when sharpening up a triple chip saw blade, on a triple chip, like I mentioned earlier in the terminology in saw blade types, you have one tooth that has a flat with two 45s on it. So when you have to bring your motor down to the negative 45 position, there's a little hole in the motor upright holder. So you got to make sure that your motor is within a 1/2 inch to 3/4 from all the way over to the right, so that way the motor can drop down and get in that slot. So I got this one positioned about a 1/2 inch away from the end, and then I'll set up and I'll kind of I'll set up one of my flat raker teeth to make sure I got my top relief clearance, and we'll go through setting up this. So again, I'll loosen up my slide and my cone a little bit so that way I can position the tooth that I'm sharpening with the stop finger one. And bring this in here. And bring this in here. Set this angle. First thing I'm going to do is lock my slide. And I'm going to do my position here. Lock my cone. And I should be set up. Bring this around to my first tooth here. You want to set your front stop. And I'm just going to take a nice light grind. I'll mark a couple teeth. See where I'm sharpening? I can see that I'm sharpening up pretty good there. So now that I know I have the correct clearance, I'm going to do my triple chip first because that's going to be taller, and I'm going to make sure this is all in balance. So I'm going to do the little flat on the triple chip, then I'm going to do the raker, and then I'll do my 45 degrees. So I'm going to bring this over to here, back my motor up. When you're sharpening up a triple chip one, there's 3 sections. It's, negative, 0, and positive. And you don't have to take much to grind a lot because you're not grinding a lot of section on those. So I'm going to bring this in, and I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do one quick little test. Should be grinding. I'm actually going to move this a little bit here. That relief in there decent. So front stop, test. And I'm hitting there nicely. So I'm going to just give it, these I'm only going to do like a light 2 grind on there. Just to get them sharpened up just a little bit. Now I have those sharpened up, I'm going to want to check to make sure that I got the 12 thousandths clearance, which it should be a little bit lower. So I'm going to bring this forward here. I'm going to set it on here to about 25, 30 thousandths, somewhere around there. I got 25 right now, then my next one I got 18, so I need to bring it down about 4 thousandths, 5 thousandths. 25, 18, 25, 18. So before I do any of those flat 45s, I'm going to do that raker. Bring it around here, and I'm just going to check. Yep, 25, 17, right around there. So I'm not going to change any of my setups. And I'd like to lock that back up. And now I'm just going to move my motor in to do my raker teeth. Now I'll take like 4 to 5 swipes on these because you are sharpening up more carbide than that triple chip one. and I'll go around and do every other tooth. Check on my roundness gauge again, make sure I got that proper relief. And I got 25 and 12, so I got about 13 thousandths clearance. So now we have our blade perfectly in balance, which having that 12 to 15 thousandths clearance. So the next thing I'll do is now I'll move my motor up and down and do my triple chip 45-degree angles. So now that we have the blade in balance, we can remove the roundness gauge because we're done with that because we know it's in balance. Bring it around to our first triple chip tooth, and I'm just going to bring my motor up to the positive 45 degree. Right there, and now you're going to have to move your motor down into your carbide tooth. You have to loosen your stop finger, and you have to bring it in there. Set it so it goes through the diamond section, and that's to get even wear. And I'm going to bring it down, and I'm just going to get very light pressure because you only want a nice small grind because you're not doing that much suction on here. And make sure your angle's matched up nicely. And now I got my top ones done. I'm going to back my motor up because I got to swing it down to the negative 45 degree. So I'm going to get back to that about ½ inch from the end, so I don't damage any of my carbide teeth here, and I can swing it down into that slot on the motor upright. Bring this down to negative 45. Lock that. And then I'll bring my motor up and into my carbide tooth. I do have to move my front stop a little bit. Just get it so it scratches real lightly. You want to take a nice light grind again. Now that we got the negative 45s and the top 45s, we have every aspect of this saw blade sharpened up, and you can definitely feel if you run your fingers across the tips a little bit, that when it's dull, it's not going to want to pull at all, but you can definitely feel that your saw blade is a lot sharper now and it's going to cut really nicely. That's pretty much all it takes to top grind your saw blades. If you have an alternate bevel teeth, you don't have to, you just move your motor to -10 or +10 if that's what your degree are. You don't have to worry about a raker tooth. But if you have that raker tooth system in there, make sure that it's between 12 and 15 thousandths lower than your alternate bevel or your triple chip ground tooth.